Welcome to the City Podcast, where mindfulness and transportation come together to offer you insightful conversation and practical wisdom. I'm your host, Deepa Mehra, a dedicated yoga and meditation coach, and I'm thrilled to inspire you on this enlightening journey. In this unique podcast series, we delve into the fascinating, interesting intersection of inner peace and the world of transportation through captivating interviews with industry leaders and experts. Together, we'll explore how mindfulness can influence and enhance the dynamic realm of transportation. Whether you are a seasoned entrepreneur, a transportation enthusiast, or simply curious about how these two worlds meet, this podcast is for you. So get ready to broaden your horizon, gain valuable insights, and embark on a journey of growth and exploration. So without further ado, let's dive into the captivating space where mindfulness meets transportation. So let me welcome Mr. Nisarg Jani, who has handled procurement function of employee transport services. So Mr. Nisarg Jani, for our listeners and viewers, may I request you to give a brief introduction of yourself?
Thanks, Deepa. Thanks, Sachin. Hello, everyone. I'm Nisarg Jani. I'm a mechanical engineer. I've got 2 decades of procurement experience and have worked with a couple of Fortune 500s and with some prominent Indian conglomerates. I'm an old school guy who has sent the RFXs on the fax and received quotations in post, which were opened in presence of committee. So, with an experience from procuring a pen to airplane and managing imports to building ports and hospitals, developing and managing commercial spaces as a procurement enthusiast, I worked on shifting the functions interpretation from cost perspective to value premise. I believe in it's not the organizations that compete; it's their supply chains basically. So that's about me. Thanks for having me on this podcast. Thanks, Deepa.
Thank you, Mr. Nisarg Jani, for that introduction. It's fascinating to hear about your extensive experience in procurement for employee transport services. I'm sure our listeners and viewers are eager to learn more about your strategies and experiences. So I'm also happy to welcome our co-founder and CEO, Mr. Sachin Agarwal. So Mr. Sachin Agarwal, for our viewers and listeners, can I have your quick introduction, please?
Yeah, thank you, Deepa. So, having spent close to about 1.5 decade in and around employee transportation, I was passionate to do something of my own, and that's how CT was born. We call it CT in 2021 September, during peak of COVID, when the entire offices, the transport activity was shut down completely, and that is the time a thought came to our mind that if you look at transport, how it is structured today, it is very painful and very complex activity for an FM, right? So we thought of resolving this problem because we knew that once the offices open up, it'll become all the more complex. So we are here to address this problem for an FM or for a transport leader, wherein we could help outsourcing this activity to people like us, and we manage it on a SLA based model. That's about me. Thank you. Nisarg, looking at your rich experience into procurement function, uh, we would like to know, our viewers and listeners would love to know from you. We have seen the COVID times, right? What is the change that you see in the so-called employee transportation or fleet management pre-COVID to the journey from pre-COVID to post-COVID?
So that's quite a wide an area, Sachin. Before coming to COVID, let me take you back to the time when the transport industry was just budding. The employee transport was just budding. So let me go a decade back in 2014-16. So I feel that's the time when the transport industry felt the spark. The government had changed, the policies were drafted to support the manufacturing and service sectors. Companies were expanding and new companies were lining up to invest in India. So with increased employment and daily commute requirement, transport industry got its fair share of opportunities. The transport industry has seen an enormous change in the last decade, I must say. It all started with carpooling at one stage. On sutta breaks and chai tapris, employees used to discuss and plan their daily commute. And by this time, internet had also become accessible, more accessible, and that gave space to cab aggregators like Olas and Ubers, now which give fair employment to the drivers, and microfinancing worked just as an icing to the cake. So when operating cost of living in tier one cities skyrocketed, the companies started looking at the tier two cities to cut down on their operational costs, and that's the time when market further penetrated. Now let's come to the COVID time, 2019-20. Of course, the COVID played a spoil spot. It was a devastating time for all of us. Market came to standstill, and transport industry took a major hit. Post pandemic, it was a real chaos. Ones who had the cars didn't have the drivers, and who went back to their natives and got settled in the agricultural and other village bound occupations, basically. So, because of the prolonged shutdowns, automobile industries having big order books found it difficult to meet with the orders because of the limited resource and the curbs on the work hours. So basically, this cash crunch and business lost, opportunities lost, weeded out many small time players. When companies started calling their employees back to the office, situation was grim. Because of social distancing norms, cabs were not utilized to its full capacity, which increased the cab requirement in an already deficit market. Managing transport in 21-22 was a real challenge, Sachin. While people were skeptical of any more COVID waves, hygiene and sanitizing requirements took the center stage, giving transport managers real tough time. Many companies lost their age-old vendors, and spontaneous alignment with new vendors was very noisy. But as they say, tough time doesn't last. COVID tested the industry's resilience and agility, I must say. Today, transport industry has gone much past the COVID times. Costs have cooled down, and the market is raking up with new fleets. So that's what I would summarize the pre and post COVID period. Working in transport industry, such a.
Fantastic, fantastic, Nisar. So one important thing which I wanted you to speak about and share your experience. How has it impacted the sourcing from the procurement standpoint? Pre-COVID to the post-COVID times. Once we opened up, immediately after the COVID, what was the impact on the spend or on the cost sourcing of vehicles?
Yes. So look, the overall spend, because of less number of people, there was this remote working still there. People still opted for working from home. They have went back to their natives, and they were cozy in their homely environment. So people were really skeptical to come back to work. So the workforce was half, like not half, even lesser than that. However, if we talk about the transport costs, the transactional cost had increased drastically. The reason being the availability of cars and the hygiene and sanitization requirements. So if we are talking about per transaction cost, it had shooted up. And however, the transport spend was not as much as it was before in 2019 pre-COVID. So yes, the new things started coming up because of less people coming in office. The transport technology took the center stage. The routing softwares, the tracking softwares really helped the transport team to manage the transport operations better. Such
Yeah, so as I hear from you, Nisar, so there are a few factors like overall occupancy, utilization of the vehicles,
yeah.
and the low employee strength in the offices, which
Yes.
had an impact on the overall cost. Obviously, the occupancy, I mean, the return to office was very, very less. So overall spend was on a lower side, but probably the per employee cost had gone up significantly, right?
Significantly. It was maybe 2 or 3x than what we were paying in 2019.
Yeah. And I think that is more or less settled in the last 1 year, as I see.
Pretty much. The demand supply basically plays here. So once the demand shoots up, the supply is also shooting up here. So the prices are more or less cooled down. We can say it's pre-COVID pricing. The transactional costs have reached down to the level what it was before COVID.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thanks. So, Nisarg, very important aspect. We feel we all understand transport is probably the most painful activity which FM does, right? So, the stress levels are very high. At the same time, it is very probably the third largest spend after real estate and salaries, and it is very sensitive, but it is definitely very painful look handling employee escalations, and day in day out handling drivers, managing vendors. So what are your thoughts around it? How can these stress levels be lowered, or we can work on certain models which can bring down these stress levels of an FM?
You know, uh, this is a two-phased question, I would say, Sachin. With my experience, IT enablement really does wonders. It captures the real-time traffic, the turnaround times, precise ETAs, the ETDs. It can keep the logs of the no-show, which employee has dropped down at what station, whether it was pre-decided, what are the last hour bugs. So these are all operational nitty-gritties which are taken care by the IT enablement. Very sound. Okay. Uh, but we are just talking about this side of the table. When we talk about the other side, that is the driver's side, who are really managing the show, who are really rolling the ball, are at times ignored. Okay, we often miss their perspective. So there are the 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 stress levels at the driver's levels are really high, and once if they are taken care, that can take the entire customer satisfaction level to customer delight level. Okay, so I feel that's where the competition is less. So the drivers needs to be taken care, the supervisors who really feel the music of the honking, the traffic, and also from the teams like us, we are always on their back.
Okay, great. So, Nisarg, as I hear from you, it has to be an integrated approach, right from an FM to the the team who's managing the operations on ground, or the
Yeah,
supervisors and the drivers. So, until
yeah,
unless we have this integrated approach, you will have these stress levels, continuing to be on a high side. So that is one thing which is very important, right? See, so an
I agree.
alignment of all the team members, who are in the
That's
loop
correct.
or who are responsible for managing the transport activity.
That's
Fantastic,
correct.
fantastic, Nisar. Thanks for sharing your inputs. Thank you.
So, your leadership and sharing of knowledge motivates our viewers every day, helping them grow and understand the constantly change transport industry. Okay, Mr. Nisarg Jani, as an outsider, how do you see consultants as an organization? So, what's your observation about CT as a brand?
Okay. So, transportation in today's time is a really very complex affair. Okay? There are many variables at play. If we have a solution for A, which did wonders for them, might not work for B, because of any slightest change in any variable. So, if I'm to quote an example that is a real time example that I had felt, we had encountered in my previous assignments. So if a company is placed in the midst of any city, okay, the solution that the transport solution which that company might get is A, might not work for the company which is headquartered in the outskirts of the city. Okay, the traffic dynamics, the shift timings, these all things really take a shift from solution A to solution B. So to gauge these dynamics, one really needs a deep eye into the business, how the functions work, and how the show is managed. So I worked with Sachin in one of my previous companies. It was a Fortune 500 company which manages wherein we had to manage the employee transport of approximately 15,000 employees pan India 24/7. So it was really great to understand, to know what all things as an consultants they had in their mind before coming up with any solution, and that worked really well. Even if I'm to talk say 3 years down the line, it is really doing wonders as of now. So as an outsider, I really feel that consultants does have that understanding of the business, understanding of the dynamics of the parameters which will impact the overall operations, and that's what is the need of the time.
It's very encouraging to hear your thoughts on CT. Over the past decade and a half, technology is in this space has made great steps. However, to further improve operations, we have developed a model called managed mobility at CT, and this model frees facility heads from daily transport management and requiring minimal time from them. And so SLAs are met without compromising on compliance, comfort, safety, and security for employees. Before we conclude, would you like to give a one-line message to our viewers and listeners?
So yeah, of course. So we have interesting times ahead. The world is looking up on India, and we can make the most out of it. So let's brace up for the time ahead, the future ahead. It's going to be great.
Thank you so
Exactly.
much. We are sincerely grateful, Mr. Nisarg Jani, for your time and this wonderful conversation. And at CT, we strive to offer value-based, hassle-free, and stress-free office commute services. Seriously, we are sincerely grateful for you to have shared your experiences while handling procurement function for a large enterprises. So we would also like to thank our viewers to their valuable time and listening to this podcast patiently. We look forward to see you in our next episode with more insights from City on trends in employee transportation. Thank you. Thank you so much.